Hello everyone, and welcome to our new series, How I Became Rich, Stories from the Beginning of Money. Today, we travel back almost 3,000 years to the bustling port city of Tyre in ancient Phoenicia. My name is Malcor, and I am a merchant of the sea. Some of you might wonder how a simple man like me, born with nothing but the salt air in my lungs, came to command fleets and trade in fortunes. It's a good question. Let me tell you a secret. I became rich by selling things I did not own yet, in cities I had not reached yet. Sounds like magic, doesn't it? It's not. It's the art of seeing what others miss. My story begins not with a bag of gold, but with an idea. I saw our brave sailors hauling cedar logs from the mountains of Lebanon down to the shore. I saw our skilled artisans crushing thousands of murex shells to create a single drop of our famous Tyrian purple dye. A color so magnificent that kings would trade their crowns for it. I saw copper and tin arriving from distant lands, destined for the forges. And I saw something else, a world connected by water, a grand marketplace waiting to be born. While other traders were content to buy goods in one port and sell them in another, I started thinking differently. Before my ship even left the harbor, my mind was already 3 ports ahead. I didn't just carry cargo, I carried information. I knew that the grain in Egypt was cheap after the Nile's flood, but the people in the Greek islands were hungry and would pay a high price for it. I knew that the tin miners in a faraway western land had no idea their dull metal was desperately needed by the bronze smiths in Anatolia. The value of a thing isn't just what it's made of, it's where it is and who needs it. Let me give you an example. Before setting sail from Tyre, I would send a messenger on a faster, smaller boat to our trading partners in Cyprus. The message would say, in 2 moons, a ship will arrive carrying 100 bolts of the finest purple cloth. The price is set. Now, here's the clever part. I didn't actually have that cloth yet, but by the time my main ship arrived in Cyprus, the buyers were already waiting, contracts in hand, money ready. I had sold the promise of the cloth. With their payment secured, I could then buy the goods in the next port at a lower price, knowing I had already made a profit. This is what you might call arbitrage, the art of profiting from the price difference between 2 markets. My greatest venture, however, involves something much larger. I noticed that all the great cities of the Mediterranean from Carthage to Corinth needed the same things, but at different times and for different prices. Wood from our forests was just timber here, but in desert-bound Egypt, it was a priceless resource for building ships and palaces. The fine glassware we made in Sidon was a common trinket to us, but to the chieftains in Sardinia, it was a symbol of incredible wealth and power. I realized I didn't have to just trade between 2 cities. I could create a chain, a network. So, I started to build it. I would leave Tyre with a shipment of our famous cedar wood. I'd sail to Egypt, trade the wood for grain and papyrus, and then sail west. In Crete, I'd trade some of the grain for their exquisite pottery and olive oil. Continuing on to Sicily, I'd exchange the pottery for silver. Then, I'd sail all the way to the Pillars of Heracles, to the distant shores you now call Spain, and trade that silver for tin. On my return journey, I'd stop in different ports, selling my new cargo and acquiring different goods. By the time my ship returned to Tyre, a year or 2 later, it was carrying a fortune far greater than the value of the cedar wood I started with. Each stop was a calculated step, turning one commodity into another, each more valuable than the last. This wasn't just about getting rich, it was about creating something new. My ships didn't just carry goods, they carried ideas, technologies, and stories. The alphabet our people invented traveled with my sailors, spreading literacy across the sea. The techniques for building stronger ships, the knowledge of the stars for navigation, the very concept of a written contract, all of this flowed through the trade routes we established. We were connecting civilizations, weaving the world together one voyage at a time. Of course, it was a dangerous life. Storms could swallow a ship whole. Pirates were a constant threat. A deal could go sour, leaving you stranded in a foreign land with nothing. But the rewards, for those who are bold and clever, were beyond imagination. People often asked me, "Malcor, what is your most valuable commodity?" They expected me to say purple, dye, or silver, or perhaps the magnificent horses from the east. I would always smile and tell them the truth. My most valuable commodity is knowledge. Knowing what people desire before they know it themselves. Knowing the currents of the sea and the currents of the market. Knowing who to trust and when to take a risk. I didn't own vast lands or a powerful army. My empire was built on information and the courage to act on it. I looked at the vast, empty sea and didn't see a barrier. I saw a highway to wealth, to discovery, and to a future that I could shape with my own hands. That is how I, a simple merchant of Tyre, became rich. It's a story as old as money itself. Find what is scarce, bring it to where it is desired, and dare to see the world, not as it is, but as it could be. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey back in time. If you enjoyed this story and want to hear more from the forgotten figures who shaped our financial world, please make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. We have many more stories to tell. See you next time.